everybody out there on YouTube. Welcome to Generation Strength Gym. I still am Brian Kane, Chris Bridgeford,
Ransom Lee,
Amber Dawn.
and we are the coaches here at Generation Strength Gym. And we're going to be bringing you some educational videos, and we're going to start with a pre-squat training series. And right now, we're going to start at shoulders. We're going to go over from head to toe, and just stick with us as we get this info out to you guys. So let's get started.
yeah.
All right, what's up everybody? As we stated in the intro, it's going to be a pre-squat series over the course of the next several weeks. Today we are going to be focused on improving mobility and stability through the shoulders and the upper back. So this is going to be a two-part video today. First part of the video, we're going to be covering movements that are specific to improving external rotation of the shoulder and relaxing internal rotators as well. So the first movement today that we're going to cover is a dowel shoulder external rotation. So I'm going to have Amber set up here, and basically what we're going to do, we're going to hold the arm up in front, about 90 degrees. We're going to take the dowel, put it close to the elbow, and what we're going to do here is we're going to slowly pull that shoulder into external rotation. We're going to get to a sticky spot, about a 6 or a 7 out of 10 for a stretch. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to get a couple rounds of PNF going. I'm going to have Amber slowly press into that dowel. We're going to hold that for a couple seconds, and then she's going to relax and let that dowel pull her shoulder into external rotation a little bit more. And we're going to repeat that for 3 or 4 rounds. Once this gets a little bit easier, we're going to slowly bring that elbow out into a similar position of the shoulder that would be in a low bar squat position. And we're going to repeat that as well. Really simple drill. We're obviously going to do this on both sides of the shoulder. Obviously for somebody with really poor shoulder mobility, we're going to start with the elbow out in front because that's not going to be an ideal position. We want to make sure that all the movement is coming from the shoulder as well. We're not compensating by leaning to the side as we try to pull the shoulder into position. We want to keep the ribs tucked the entire time. There you go. All right, guys, second movement of the series today, we're going to go into a T-spine roll or an isolated pec stretch. I'm going to have Brian get down on the floor here into a prone position. What we're going to do is we're going to have one arm directly out to the side and the other arm close to the chest. What we're going to do here is we're going to go through 3 positions. We're going to start here directly out, and then depending on the individual, we're either going to move the arm down, closer to the hip, or up, more into an overhead position. Depending on the person, an individual that lacks shoulder external rotation is generally going to find that the overhead position is going to be the most difficult, so that's probably where we're going to stick. But we're going to start with the arm directly out to the side, and we're going to work from there. So what Brian's going to do here is he's going to slowly press this left arm into the floor, and he's going to look in that direction as well as we press into that floor and get a stretch into this pec here. What we're going to do is we're going to hold that for a few seconds, and we're going to come back down, and we're going to repeat that for 5 to 10 reps. We're going to hold for a 2 to 3 count at the top of each stretch. As this gets easier, what we're going to do is we're slowly going to move this hand into the overhead position, and we're going to rinse and repeat until he gets in a difficult overhead position.
Next up, we are going to go over the T-spine reach or thread the needle. I'm going to have Branson get into a quadruped position here. So what's really important when you are doing the thread the needle is we don't want to see any shifting in the pelvis here. We want to keep the low back nice and stable. Next thing he's going to do is he's going to take his right arm and he's going to thread it under and through his left. Really focusing on a thoracic stretch here. So he's stretching his upper back, he's stretching his lat, he's stretching his rear delt, and he's going to exhale and get into a deeper stretch there and hold that for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then come back up and repeat. And then he'll switch sides after he's done about a set of 5 to 10, depending on the athlete's mobility. And again, focusing on that stability of the low back and the pelvis. This is focusing mostly on your T-spine and your mid-back, creating range of motion and mobility.
Nice. Well done.
All right, everybody, the second part of the video series today, we've gone through mobilizing all the internal rotators of the shoulder, the pecs and lats. We've improved the range of motion. We've improved our external rotation, so now we're going to go into stabilizing movements and strengthening the external rotators of the shoulder pre-squat. So what I'm going to have Amber do here, she's going to perform a face pull, external rotation, overhead press into a squat. So what she's going to do is, well, she's already done it. So she's going to perform a face pull, externally rotate, and then press to ensure that all the muscles of the upper back are activated before going into the squat pattern. Notice here, while she's performing the movement, she is making sure that she's actually doing her best to replicate her actual squat pattern. So as you can see, when she comes back up, she's making the effort to pack her ribs down and brace exactly as she would with a low bar squat, and then pulling into external rotation. Good. So an issue we see a lot with this movement is people will take the band and they'll just throw it up into an overhead position, rib cage will flare, and then they'll squat down, and it looks nothing like the actual competition squat. So that's the importance of making sure that we keep the ribs back down, bracing properly, and then performing the movement.
Okay, so the next one we're going to be going over is prone pull downs. Here I have Brian with the dowel. The first thing we're going to focus on is lifting the bar off the ground, or the dowel. Now, for people that are really limited and can't go through this full range of motion, this is something that we're just going to really have to focus on initially. So head down, lift that bar up. This is activating rear delts here specifically. Next thing he's going to do is, in that lifted motion, he's then going to pull it down as far as he can. And here, he can't get into a low bar position.
Oh, thank God.
So people that are limited with range of motion, try and get that far to about mid-head. And what we really want to focus on here is lifting off. We don't want it touching the back of the head. For people that can actually get down to that low bar position, we're going to hold that position for about 2-3 seconds and then release. And what that is doing is it's utilizing the external rotation that we've now allowed ourselves to get into, rear delts, lats, and you're also utilizing that thoracic extension there as well.
All right, guys, last movement of the series today, we're going to be going through a banded thread the needle. So during the mobilizing section of this video, we performed a normal thread the needle. Now that we are stabilizing, we're going to add a band to it, and we're just going to add a little bit of resistance to the movement. So I'm going to have Branson get down here, quadruped position. He's going to grab that band with his outside hand. He's going to make sure that he actually loops the band around the wrist to ensure that we're pulling tension from the shoulder itself and not directly from the bicep. So we're here, quadruped position. He's going to make sure that he has his hips locked in place here. He's bracing, ribs down. What we're going to do here is we're going to slowly pull the outside hand through directly under the other arm, and he's going to slowly pull that shoulder, try to pull that shoulder to the floor. If it's difficult for him to get into that position, what I'm going to have him do here is actually scoot his knees back a little bit. There we go. Hips still locked in place. Bend this inside elbow a little bit more, and slowly try to pull that shoulder to the floor. Now when he gets closer to end range of motion here, I'm actually going to have him exhale as much as he can and just relax here for a few seconds. Really, really empty out all that air in his chest and his upper back. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly pull that outside arm back up, straighten out this inside elbow, pull that elbow directly out. Good. We're going to hold that for a few seconds, and we're going to do the same exact thing for 3 to 4 more rounds. So slowly come back down, let that band pull the outside arm through, slowly pull that shoulder to the floor. Good. And then release all that air out of the chest. Hips are still locked in place here. All the rotation of this movement is coming from the T-spine itself, not the lower back. Good. Banded thread the needle.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Next week, we'll be going over some more pre-squat mobility with the hips, all in the hips. So tune in next time, and we'll see you.
Or don't. I don't care.
Yeah.